Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Addie P's Real Estate Tea. I wanted to come on today and discuss and kind of follow up on the previous video that I just did in regard to the eviction moratorium being extended through FHFA. Now, before I get into this video, if you like what you hear in this video, as you always do so graciously, hit that thumbs up button. Also subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate it. And also hit the bell notification to be notified of future videos on this channel. I do have some things that I'm in the works of and have some new exciting stuff to share with you all, tips and other things. So please hit that bell notification so YouTube can let you know when a new video is uploaded. And you already know, if you're watching me from Instagram, drop your girl heart, show her some love. All right. Now, again, this video is a follow-up of the previous video that I just did a couple of days ago regarding the eviction moratorium. And I wanted to kind of speak on both sides of this matter, both from a tenant perspective and also from a landlord perspective. I think that during all of this, everyone feels slighted in some type of way, whether it be the tenant who, during this pandemic, a lot of businesses and so forth got a lot of relief and and some aid. I can't say a lot, but a good portion, which kind of helped. If you do not have those types of things going on as such as, excuse me, a business or something like of that nature, that you may have been able to receive some kind of relief, some kind of PPP loans or EIDL loan grant, excuse me, then it kind of leaves you in a position of, you're stuck. And needless to say, the rent relief that was issued, and I can only speak on the state of PA, and what was issued our way. But needless to say, that program has since ended. It's, the funding has dried up. There were that many people who really needed it. And that program that I'm referring to is the CARES Act funding that was allocated through PHFA, and that also benefited homeowners as well too. But again, a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucratic red tape, I should say, that renters and homeowners had to go through in order to secure that funding and that aid. So, as a renter, I'm sure that it's very difficult to, navigate through all of that and hope that you were able to secure that type of funding. And unfortunately, because of the way that a lot of these programs are set up, it is that way. So that was one benefit that most were able to hopefully partake in. Now, a lot of landlords were not crazy about that because the average rent, and I'll say I'm speaking from the Lehigh Valley perspective here, is about $1,200-$1,300 for a 2-bedroom. So if you have a rent that high, the CARES Act at that time, the rental assistance program, only covered up to $750. Now, as I stated in that video, when I had actually explained the whole program, or at least certain parts of it, 750 is a lot better than no 150s, if you get what I mean. So from a landlord's perspective, if I had a tenant that had not paid or was not paying, I would definitely partake in that program. instead of just kind of, oh, well, what am I going to do with 750? You owe 1350. So I guess for me, I think that it would have been better for some landlords to partake in that. There was, again, a lot of paperwork and so forth. So there were some renters that did miss out on taking advantage of that. Now, during that time that was going on, back in September 4th, to be exact, the CDC issued a rent moratorium, or an eviction, excuse me, moratorium, to halt any all evictions or foreclosures due to the pandemic. Now that is due to end the end of this month, December 31st. So January 1st, 2021, evictions can resume unless something is passed in the next couple of weeks. Now, that is, separate from the moratorium that I mentioned in my video the other day. The video that I mentioned the other day, that particular moratorium only applies to mortgages that are in single family homes, first and foremost. It doesn't include any commercial properties or commercial loans, anything of that nature. It's only for single family homes. So if you had a landlord that had a property that was backed by a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan, then that would apply. Any kind of federally backed loan, then that moratorium applies until January 31st of 2021. So it's definitely helpful in that sense. But these little, to me, I think just bite the bullet, give a year of no evictions and no foreclosures. And that will also, let's flip on the landlord side of it, give the landlords some time to, take a breather, take a fresh set of eyes at this whole situation. Um, Please realize that a lot of landlords, a majority of landlords, especially ones that I work with, are mom and pop. They're just like you and I. They have bills, they have things that they have to pay for. They are sending their kids to school, to colleges and so forth. And they may be a rent check away from a foreclosure. So I think from a tenant perspective, sometimes the narrative is always, oh, these greedy landlords, these slum landlords, and so forth. I'm not saying that that's, not the case with some, but I've met some great landlords. I work with some great landlords who are not slum lords and who are really, their backs are pressed against the wall here. So we have to consider both sides of this. And the reason for this video today is, obviously to take a look at both sides, but also to see how to approach this situation. Because with government playing around with this pandemic, unfortunately, and not putting any kind of solid relief package into play here, we may very well be faced with another eviction, this eviction wave and crisis. It's already happening. I've actually gotten a couple of phone calls over the past month from individuals saying, "Hey, Addie, can you help me find a rental? I got evicted." And that is definitely challenging because when they run the background report, which most landlords do run some kind of background reports now, that pops up. Who wants to be stuck with the tenant that got evicted? And unfortunately, that's what some are being faced with. So to be evicted in the middle of a pandemic is just the worst of the worst. And to be dealing with this during the holiday, again, I just really am disappointed in the government. They've been at this whole relief package since September. And to me, for people that we as the people employ to make decisions for us, and during a pandemic, you can't make a sound, solid decision to save, give some relief to homeowners and to tenants. that's not good. That doesn't set right with me. But anyway, let me not get off on that tangent. Another day, another video. All right. But anyway, one of the things that I do suggest from a tenant perspective would be to contact your landlord immediately, whether there be job loss, because that's yet another thing that's being folded into this big ball of ugh, at this moment. Is, like I said, contact your landlord if you unfortunately have been a part of this massive job loss that is occurring in some parts, locally or, here in the nation. But needless to say, look, Mr. Landlord, Mrs. Landlord, I just lost my job. Let them be in the know. Because if you're sitting there and you're kind of just like, I'll bury your head in the sand, I'll wait. That waiting turns into a month. And then by that month, you need your rent due. And that landlord, like I said, in most cases, are mom and pop. They are not some big corporation, and they do not have the ability to, let you slide for 2 months, 3 months without them getting some kind of rental payment. They have a mortgage that they have to potentially pay, and that mortgage may not be federally backed. So if it is not a federally backed mortgage, then you're leaving your landlord to hang out there and dry pretty much. And again, I know that it's kind of one of those situations like, I can't help it. I'm not getting paid. He or she can't help it because they're not getting paid to pay the mortgage to keep the roof over your head and so forth. So it all kind of, it's just not a good situation. But like I said, being honest, being frank, being upfront is the key to this, so that way everybody is in the know. All right. Now, there are, and I'm going to speak on it, I'm going to put it out there. Of course, there are some landlords who are exploiting this, this moratorium and saying, okay, well, and finding loopholes and crafty ways of getting rid of bad tenants. I don't fault you for it. For me, I can honestly say I would do the same thing if I was in their position and I had a tenant that was basically, a problem for a while, and oops, your lease is up. Well, sorry, but you have to go. And those are some loopholes because these moratoriums really only cover non-payment. And I know in some instances, especially with the CDC one, there is a self-certification that you go through. It's something online to that effects of just saying, okay, I'm certifying that I lost my job, or I'm certifying that because of this pandemic that I've been put in a financial situation that I can no longer pay the rent that I have been contractually obligated to pay. So needless to say, if you don't know your lease, and you're just kind of thinking, well, I'm not going to be kicked out. It's in the middle of a pandemic. What could go wrong? Well, guess what could go wrong? Your behind could be out on the streets. And because if that lease is up and you haven't been paying and you've been thinking as a tenant that you can exploit this pandemic, then sorry for you, you can't. The magistrates are still open. I was just there the other week to testify on behalf of a landlord client of mine from the past, and they are still open. They're still hearing cases. So please don't be fooled and know what's going on. And also be a good tenant. Honestly, I'm not a mean girl here, but if you're one of those tenants that are exploitive, you're exploiting your landlord. If you're a landlord that's exploiting your tenants, just cut the video off, go on to, watch something else, because this channel, this video is not for you. So back to some things that can happen that you can do. So knowing your lease, speaking with the landlord, letting the landlord know, hey, this is what's going on with me. Now, I'm hoping that after our hardworking government comes back from their Christmas break, that they have it in themselves to actually sit down and be cordial to each other and think about the American people that employ them and come up with a comprehensive, fast acting package. Hopefully, part of that package, which they have discussed, that they are thinking about allocating 25 billion towards rent relief and to put an end to this current looming crisis that is happening here with eviction and foreclosure. um, and the thing is I report a lot on the benefits that are going on right now in the housing market. The numbers look great and so forth, but we have this underbelly of the foreclosures and the potential evictions that are looming, that can be catastrophic to this housing market. So we definitely want to pay attention to this. And like I said, hopefully our government officials will take this seriously and put something in action to give everyone that is in need the much needed assistance to get out of this hole. Now, some other things that like I said, that can be done is from a tenant perspective, you can go to the agency here locally, and you may have to check out, if you're watching this video from elsewhere, check through your county agencies. But I know in particular here locally, there is an agency called Catholic Charities, that even though the CARES Act monies and so forth has ended, at least at this point in time, that Catholic Charities still, they do offer some rental assistance if they have it available. And there are some other agencies here in Easton. I believe it is the neighborhood center. Sometimes they'll have some funding and so forth. There is a number, it's 211. And I mentioned this in a video that I did last year in regard to some rental, help and so forth, that you can dial. There are some federal assistance programs. Now, I will forewarn you that the answer may be, hey, put your name down. We'll give you a call when we have something. Realize that everyone is stretched to the gill as far as what they can give out and help folks with. So that is another avenue that you can take if you are truly, struggling, you're falling behind. But I will say to you, just like I've said before in my videos, if there is a program available to help you during these times, don't sit back and, oh, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Do you want to be in the street? Because that's exactly where you're going to be with that type of mentality. Nobody else cares. Everybody else is going to go on about their business. Your landlord that you've sat back and said, oh, I'm not, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Fill the paperwork out, go do the things that you have to do to secure your residence. I don't understand that mentality. It kind of annoys me, to be honest with you, when I see folks that just kind of, are, and they just kind of hang out and don't take action. So if you do have that ability to have a program that's there, that you have to interact with your landlord and say, hey, I need you to fill this out, or I need to go and fill this paperwork out. Do your due diligence and do it. Fill the paperwork out. Because realize, again, like I said, it is not just you that is in this whole equation. It's also your landlord, that he may or she may be dependent upon that rental payment. So your potential lackadaisical behavior can morph into some problems for he or she as your landlord as well. And from the landlord's perspective, again, I'll say, if there is another program that comes out and they say, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Landlord, we'll offer you up to $800 on the rent, and the rent is $1,400. I'm not gonna. Well, okay. Well, then I guess you're not getting rent. At least you're getting something, And as a tenant, if you are at least making that attempt, let's hope that we can all come together and collectively work through this issue. Um, you, as a tenant, need a place to stay. The landlord needs the money in order to, sustain themselves, their lifestyle, whatever the case may be. So it only makes sense to work together. Get it? Okay, I get it. So, needless to say, those are just some things, again, that I'm throwing out there. I hope to be able to report some better news in the coming weeks that, hey, the government remembered us and they have some funding for our homeowners and our landlords and our tenants to be able to survive this pandemic that nobody asked for. So, enough of my ramblings for the day. I, again, am going to be bringing some more videos to you all. Hopefully, they will be of some help. If this video is helpful for anyone, please remember to share it. I will link the information in the description box below for our local folks, for Catholic Charities, and the neighborhood center as well. And until then, you all have a blessed day. Thank you.